Hello friends and welcome. Today we're going to talk about Shadow Shaman's ultimate. He's one of the most recommended supports to play if you're trying to climb MMR as a support player because his ult allows him to push objectives on his own while your team is jungling, but I still want to give you guys a couple pointers on how to then best utilize this really powerful ultimate. This is just my opinion, but I'm going to back it up with some math to try to convince you guys. Now if you don't like math, don't worry, I'm just going to run through this quickly and summarize it for you on the next slide. First of all, let's talk about towers. Tier 1 towers do about 90 damage per shot. I'd like you to pay attention to the fact that Tier 2 towers and onwards have about twice that amount of damage. So, the towers will just kill the creeps way faster than a Tier 1 tower. Don't forget that if the enemy were to fortify, Tier 2 towers and onwards, they get split shot. So they're going to do nearly double damage to multiple creeps at the same time and obliterate your creep waves. That makes it difficult to have creeps tank for you while your serpent wards do damage. When it comes to the health and armor, math, blah, 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 the effective HP of a tier 1 tower is about 3,000, while a tier 2 tower has 1,800 extra HP beyond that. So, tier 2 towers, harder to kill because they kill your creeps faster and therefore kill your wards after that, and they just take more damage to kill. I mean, that probably sounded obvious, but I feel it was needed to highlight as we get into our ultimate here. Does 50 damage at level 1. If you didn't know, it does pierce damage, which only does 35% damage to buildings, which then gets further reduced by the tower's armor down to 10. So, this is how many shots it would take to kill the towers with your level 1 through 3 ults. I'm going to get more into that when we summarize this slide. What if you were to use it on a hero? Well, if the hero had, say, 1,500 HP and 10 armor, it would then take this amount of shots to kill them because pierce damage is still reduced, but it's only reduced to 50% damage. So your ult does more damage to heroes than it does to buildings. Pause here if you want to look through these numbers more, but I'll just summarize it for you on this slide. If you have your level 1 ultimate, I highly recommend you use it on the tier 1 towers. They're not too hard to take because it takes your 10 serpent wards about half of their attacks at 17 to kill the tower because they do survive for 45 seconds, so they have about 30 attacks in them. So it's not too bad to kill the tier 1 towers because you can kind of tank the tower a little bit if you need to. It's not too bad, but hopefully your creeps also just survive long enough to distract the tower and the enemy creeps from killing your serpent wards while your serpent wards then kill the tower. And it's not too bad. The tier 1 towers, very valuable. Opens up the map a lot, gets you golden experience, or sorry, no experience, gets you gold, but you get experience when you then like control that part of the map, get to farm that area, so it leads to more experience. The mistake I see a lot of people do is that instead of going to the other tier 1 towers, like say they take the tier 1 safe lane, they keep staying there and then they go for the tier 2. It's not really worth it, guys. It's a lot harder to get at 275 attacks. That's pretty much the serpent wards have to attack the whole time, not get distracted. The enemy can't fortify. None of your serpent wards can die. You can't tank the tower very much because it does so much damage. It's really hard to do. It's probably going to take 2 ultimates because your first serpent wards are going to die. You're going to have to use the second one. And you're just going to get a tier 2 tower. It's not that good. It doesn't really open up the map at that point. I'm not a huge fan of tier 2 towers instead of other things, guys. If you haven't noticed, we have a Roshan video on this too. Get Roshan instead of tier 2 towers. I just don't think they're that good. So, what I would recommend to you guys is that after you take all the tier 1 towers, go kill people with your level 1 ultimate because it's easier to do against most heroes. You know, it's harder. Some people have more HP, some people have more armor, but in general, it's easier to kill heroes, hopefully like big mid heroes, carries, things like that. That gets you experience to get your level 2 ultimate, where I would like you to note that it takes your level 2 ult about 16 attacks from all your serpent wards to kill a tier 2 tower. And that is very similar to the 17 attacks of a level 1 ultimate to kill a tier 1 tower. So that's why once you get level 2 ult, you can now look to get the tier 2 towers, but even then, you don't have to. So if you're split pushing and you know the enemy doesn't really have fortify and you see them all somewhere else, sure, you can ult that tower. But it's still not bad to use it in team fights because at this stage of the game, if you win the team fight with a good ultimate, your cores are kind of strong enough to just take the towers on their own anyways. They don't really have to have your ultimate. Now, if a team fight is breaking out at the tower, then that's like the best case scenario, like go ahead and ult there. But I guess I'm just saying this so that you guys don't always have to feel like, oh, Zach said to always just ult towers. Not true. Don't blame me like that, guys. I'm saying the level 1 ultimate, preferably on the tier 1 towers. Even those you can consider using on kills and team fights if you think, oh, right after we get this kill, we can then take this tower. I'm not a huge fan of that because the death timers at this point are really low. So like you kill someone a little away from the tower, you try to push up to the tower, and then they've respawned, they've TP'd there, and they defend it. But when we get to that level 2 ultimate, it's later in the game, we win a team fight, people are dead for like 60 plus seconds, and that's enough time to push to the tower and then kill it all. Your teammates are strong enough to tank the tower if necessary, even you have more health to tank it. So at that point, I think it becomes a lot easier to use in team fights. But if you can still use it on towers, I think that's still the best. And hopefully they come to defend. And then you get both, a team fight and a tower. But I'm just rambling at this point, so I'm going to end it here, guys. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see a bit more about Shadow Shaman, you can check out this video where I tried to carry my friend in an unranked game. Not smurfing, but I kind of show you guys how to carry with Shadow Shaman. So if you kind of want to see this principle in practice, there you go. Otherwise, watch some other video, go do other things, play Shadow Shaman, I don't know. Bye, guys.